Hey there, I'm Retro Master Beater, and the latest game I wanted to showcase is a total nostalgia kick for me. It's Legacy of the Ancients by Electronic Arts from 1987, and this game just brings back so many memories. I think I got it Christmas of probably '88 because I never get the games right when they come out, but I don't hear about them. You know, this is back when you had to wait for magazines to do articles and so on. In any case, it was a Christmas that I got it. I was about 13 years old, and I can remember just spending a whole bunch of my Christmas break running around Tarmalon, exploring the land, learning the game. It was a visual and audio marvel at the time. Let me tell you, it was awesome. First, I wanted to say the Apple II version is okay. It's a little bit rougher on the graphics as you'd expect. It's a little bit slower. The story is all the same, but it doesn't have the color vibrancy. The dithering is more pronounced, and the sounds are good, but it's also a totally different kind of sound with the Mockingbird or the audio chipsets you put into the Apple II expansion ports. The PC version is only CGA, so that wouldn't compete. And I put it on the color burst composite mode on emulating real PC hardware. It's a lot better than what you see screenshots of CGA, but it sure doesn't have anywhere near the color vibrancy of the Commodore 64. And of course, the PC speaker audio single channel beeper, as they call it, nowhere going to be anywhere close to what the Commodore 64 puts out with its SID chip. It does move faster, and I especially like the gaming element. They did really well with the games, the arcade elements of the PC version. So that's actually worth playing just to get to the weapon and the armor training. So those are awesome. But to play this game fully through, I am totally going to go with this Commodore 64 because that's how I first experienced, and I think it just happens to be the best version. So the game starts with you getting a scroll and an armband from a dying man. I know when I encounter dying people, I usually take their artifacts and put them right on. But luckily this time it grants you access to a museum that you were hidden from previously. The museum is great. It's got all sorts of exhibits to examine and read. It buzzes as you get close to the exhibits. I always loved the experience of walking through the museum, your footsteps echoing. You get your first taste here of the superb graphics and sound. You start with just 2 jade coins. These are the lowliest of coins, the very entry-level ones. And there's 3 exhibits that you can experience with just those 2 jade coins. But it's a good start. You want to go to the Fountain Quest first. They give you some gold, plus you begin a little side quest that'll eventually be completed. And then you want to take the magic teleport to a town called Thornberry. Again, you get gold, and you go right to a town where you can make some more money and gamble and all this cool stuff. So it switches to a town view. It's a zoomed-in view where you are in the town and you walk around visiting the different shops. You'll find merchants who sell weapons and armor. You'll find bankers and lenders, and then food sellers and other sundry supplies. And, of course, in some towns, you'll also find healers and sellers of spells and wizardry. No, not that wizardry. When you leave town, you go on the overworld map. You get to see the whole overworld of Tarmalon as you walk around, and you'll explore grasslands, swamps, mountains, deserts, and oceans. Each of them have their own sounds to help further immerse you in this land. I love it. There's wind in the mountains, there's ocean crashing on the shores, squish a swamp under your toes as you walk through the swamps. I told you this game is awesome. It's Ultima style of RPG, but there's no level grinding by having to fight. Well, okay, there's a lot of random encounters, which gets very annoying, but you're not fighting all the time to build experience, so at least you can take a break from that. You earn money by running mail delivery errands if you want, or you can fight the overworld wee beasties, or my favorite way, of course, gambling. Flip-flop is the game to pick. If you're quick enough to pick the right bucket, it's totally a winnable game. It's actually just enough of the skill versus luck factor in this game to turn in your favor. Plus, every so often, even when it speeds up in later levels, every now and then you'll get bucket 5 or 6, which is like 5 times your bet. So overall, I think it really adds up to be a very winnable game. When I played this on a real Commodore, that's how I made a bunch of money. Anyway, you can only achieve new levels after completing certain tasks in this game, not experience-based. And they aren't spelled out. You just have to return to the museum every so often and talk to the caretaker and see if he deems you worthy of an advance. So for example, level 2, to get to level 2, all you have to do is view all 3 Jade Museum exhibits. So you'll have to talk to merchants till they sell you another Jade coin. Then you can view the 3rd exhibit. To get to level 3, you have to go visit the pirate dungeon on the far distant island chain lands. Level 4, you have to actually beat the pirate dungeon, which you retrieve a crown at the bottom of the dungeon. And then you also have to get to level 2 in the Kelfor Castle. It's a big castle accessed in the middle of the main overworld area. And that's a whole nother kind of like town type of view, but it's a big map, castle map. And so it goes. That's how you advance levels, different tasks throughout the game. At some point along the way, you will be attacked by bandits, losing the scroll you were given. When I first had that happen, I wanted to restart my game, like, crap, there goes my scroll, but I kept going, and then you talk to the caretaker, and he tells you that it was bound to happen, so you figure, oh, this was a built-in event. The game's advancement system via the caretaker is actually a really great gateway system that steers you into achieving certain tasks to advance the game. So it's open world, but then there's specific things that they kind of steer you towards to sort of progress the storyline along. There's plenty of leeway in visiting towns, making money, stocking up on supplies and magics and herbs, but to advance the story, you just continue to achieve specific tasks, and that usually gives you an item or a hint that steers you to your next task. The museum exhibits are way cool. I don't know why I like them so much. Maybe because so many of them tease you with information before you can actually have access. You don't have the coins, right? It's just like, oh, that looks cool. I can't wait to see that exhibit. And when you finally land one of those rare museum coins, you get all excited to see what kind of information the exhibit has to tell you. Another thing that makes this game something I've enjoyed playing through more than once is the way you improve your attributes. The levels you earn from the caretaker only increase your total hit points. 3 of your attributes are actually increased by playing a pretty slick and fun minigame. So first you have an armor training school that improves your endurance score. This game puts you in the middle of a ring, and you have to turn and fend off fireballs being shot to you just before they hit you. If you miss 5 times, they stop the training before you're burnt to a crisp. It's really fun. I love that game. There's a nice ramp up in level difficulty, and man oh man, break out your old school joystick for level 7 because a D-pad is not going to cut it. I have beat level 7, and it is a great showcase of your real-life dexterity. And then now it's reflected in the game. I love that. So second, there's a weapon training school for increasing dexterity. This is just like the armor training, except instead of waiting for fireballs to bounce off your shield, you have to turn and shoot each incoming fireball. This is actually harder than the armor one because you have that extra button push to fire the counter-strike. So I have not beat level 7 on this one. You just doesn't seem like you have enough time. Can't react fast enough. Okay, finally, to increase your intelligence attribute, you play a game called Stones of Wisdom. This is a strategy game, also called Liar's Dice, where you are trying to guess how many dice you have and your opponent have, and you have to always up the bid. So each turn you have to either increase the number that you're bidding on or the number of dice. You cannot go backwards. Then you keep going till one wins a round, and whoever wins, the other person has to take a dice away. It's a really fun game. Probably something you could play like on an iPhone these days just to kill some time. It's cool too that this is the very game I played as a kid that when the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out, I knew the rules and I knew what they were playing. They were doing Liar's Dice on that movie. And it's because I played Stones of Wisdom on my Commodore 64.
4 5s.
6 3s.
I knew my Commodore was for education, see? Alright, so increased levels, increased attributes, accomplished tasks, the story unfolds nicely. You learn your scroll was an evil wizard's compendium, go figure, right? Visit special characters in the castle, become part of a secret society of protectors, all trying to protect the world from the evil doom of the compendium. But the story seems very gratifying to me. Each major accomplishment gives you this audio jingle that I love. Throughout the story, you'll have 3 distinct dungeons to delve through. They're all 8 levels deep. The best one's the Knight's Dungeon, because you just start at the bottom and work your way back out. That's really fun. You don't have to go down and then back. It's just start at the bottom, come on up. When I was a teenager, I had to spend the time to carefully map out each level of the dungeon, and I enjoyed it then. I would not enjoy it now. I don't have the time. You have the internet, folks. That's so your tedium will be greatly reduced. The internet has maps. Get you through the dungeons faster. Alright, so the big moment comes. You've beaten the dungeons, you've looted the castle, you've obtained your strength, wisdom, stature, and you get the diamond coin for the final Pegasus exhibit. Put the coin in, Pegasus comes alive, and you get to climb on, and it flies you over the sea to your final encounter with the evil wizard. His fortress traps you, but of course you escape. You find the compendium, but he steals it away. Finally, the final encounter, you come to the evil wizard. It becomes an epic fight, massive punishment. Massive fight, constantly healing yourself, and each step you get zapped for major hit point. But you beat him. And then, just when you think you're all safe, a self-destruct sequence begins for the whole fortress. You gotta make a beeline for the exit. But the gate slams shut. Tons of guards coming at you to stand in your way. You gotta fight through, even as time is ticking. The pitch is rising. Literally, the pitch is rising on the game. And you're getting desperate to get out. Just when you think you're not going to make it, you find an escape, and lo and behold, the castle blows up on your backside practically, leaving just rubble behind. I know it's time. I know you've probably had all the time in the world, but I love it. It's awesome when that happens. I love the whole endgame sequence here. Well done, Electronic Arts. But it's not quite over yet. You fly back to the museum, talk to the caretaker again. He jumps you from level 7 to level 10. Why not, right? And you get 50,000 gold. Like, there's no arbitrary, there's no game left, but just, I don't know why. I was always like, oh, level 10! All of a sudden, it was cool. The game is over, so it really doesn't matter, but just feels so rewarding. Then the caretaker tells you to check out the restored exhibit, now with the compendium properly guarded by the 4 jewels. Then there's one exhibit left, which the caretaker exhibit turns into a tribute exhibit to who else? You. It's awesome, though. The game gives you huge kudos and pats on the back in its ending sequence. And that's Legacy of the Ancients. What an epic game on just 2 floppy disks. Don't know how they did that. This is still a time, 1987 on the Commodore, when it was still a relevant, popular, major system. The NES is just barely beginning to match this type of game with the Legend of Zelda release, because now they have carts with battery backup. So, I mean, this type of game was clearly like a computer game. To close, I'm going to show you the entire Endgame sequence, so stick around and catch the ending. But first, just wanted to thank you for watching, and here's my current scoreboard. For the game ranking, I give it 9 out of 10. For a difficulty ranking, maybe about 5 out of 10. It's pretty straightforward, a little bit of wandering sometimes if you don't know what you're doing. And now the total games I've played comes to 1,066, and the games I've completed is up to 415. Alright, thanks. We'll see you next time. Retro Master Beater, later.